Mann som verkar bruka snittar.
Hello everyone, this is Shauna with Disrupt Apps today, and today I want to do a video about Linux Mint, and I want to do a big tour video. And I've got a little outline of what I want to go over here, starting out. And I am a Linux enthusiast. I'm not quite a power user yet, nor elite, but eventually I want to get there. But I want to share with you why Linux Mint is so cool and why you should be switching to Linux Mint. And I want to go over a lot of the things that I've discovered over the past few months of using Mint and switching over from Windows. And in my case, I had to work in both worlds of both Linux and Windows because of the apps that I'm developing. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So when you first log in to your Mint, well, the very first time you actually install it and come in, you're going to see this welcome screen. And you can always switch this off, you know, if you don't want to see it anymore, but I'd always keep it on. So come here to first steps. And again, this is when you first install it, and you can like do a lot of cool things from the beginning. And you've got your desktop colors, and you can come in here and you can change to different themes, mixed theme, dark, light, and it's really, you know, whatever you want to suit to your preference. And then system snapshots, that's kind of like the backups for Windows, driver manager, update manager we'll go over in a minute, system settings we'll go over, the software manager, and more advanced users, you can do your firewall, and you'll need to put in your login password or to open this, but yeah, it gives you a lot of control over your system of who can come in and go out and what can come out of your system. And it's really good. It's really empowering for users. So, but yeah, you'll see this every time unless you disable it here, and then documentation, and then help and contribute. So yeah, you'll generally see that for the first time. So let me go ahead and close this out, and let's take a quick look at the desktop. And it's pretty Windows-ish. It's very similar to Windows. And if you're switching over to Linux, it's a great introduction to Linux, because we've all been conditioned to the Windows type of desktop system. And you know, if you're coming from Windows, you have the start menu over here, but in Linux you just have a menu, and you have this panel right here that is very similar to how Windows operates. And so you can put on your desktop here, I'm going to go ahead and close this, you have a big space, and here you can put folders and documents and images that you're working on and things like that. And then down here at the bottom you have, you know, like your taskbar. And it's very similar to Windows. So that's really cool. It makes migrating very easy. And you can pin your different applications to the taskbar. It's called a little bit different thing down here. It's panel is what they call it. And then over here you've got what you're working on, what your current app is, what app you're using. And right now I'm using OBS Studio to record this. And here on the right hand side you've got your time, and then you've got your volume settings, and then your sound settings, and you can come to your sound settings, very similar to Windows. It gives you a lot of control. It's really easily laid out, and I think a lot better done than Windows. And it's so straightforward, so easy to navigate, and as you can see here, it's giving you all these different things to change and all these different settings. So, and then what's really cool about Linux Mint is you get automatic updates, and it'll notify you about updates that are available. And the great thing about Mint is you can enable updates, and the great thing about Mint is you can have control over your system. Like if you want to you know, if you're tired of Windows telling you need to update and pestering you or forcing an update, you know, that's really annoying. But with Mint, that'll let you know, hey, there's some new updates or patches or this or that. And it'll give you the option to go ahead and do this instead of forcing it on you. And Mint also gives you the option to automatically update if you want to go ahead and do that. I haven't run my Linux in a while, so I need to install some updates. And I'll show you how easy it is to do the install the updates. And basically you just hit install updates. And it just tells you what's going to happen, what needs to be installed. You hit OK. And then it's going to tell you more additional stuff that's going to be changed and upgraded. And then of course you need to put in your password. And then you just let it do its thing. And of course you'll need to be connected to the internet. So, and the thing is, you have control over it. And that is so awesome. Instead of, I know Windows has gotten better about it, but in the past Windows would shut down your computer or interrupt your program, and that made a lot of people angry. And this is what's so great about Linux Mint and Linux in general, is you have control over your computer. And that's what's amazing about it. So this might take a while, and see, what's also really cool about this is it actually shows you what's being downloaded, so you're not guessing who and what is doing on your computer. So I haven't done an update in probably like 2 or 3 weeks, so that was a pretty long download. But in a lot of cases you won't need to do a reboot, but in my case this time I'll have to do a reboot, which is no big deal. So the one downside, if you want to see it as a downside, is that when you shut off your Windows machine, it does the updates. But if you do this way here on Mint, you might have to walk away from your computer. But hey, at least you see what's being updated. At least you have control and know what's going on with your computer, instead of just guessing what Microsoft is doing. So I'm going to go ahead and reboot my machine, and we'll continue on with the tour. Okay, so here we are again. I did the reboot and everything's back in order, back in operating. So yeah, let's go with the grand tour. So if you're old like me, you may have remembered back in the day playing with Windows 95. My goodness, I'm dating myself. But you remember how, when you think about that, how nostalgic you feel about that. And how I'm using Mint, and when I use Mint, I have that nostalgia. And it just feels cool and new and plain and simple, and like it was back in 95. And same thing with like XP, you have that certain feel and that nostalgia. And that's one of the things that I like about using Mint, is having that nostalgia feeling. And the other thing I like about using Mint is I'm supporting open source software and the FOSS philosophy. And that's free and open source software philosophy. And I'm doing something, I'm participating in a movement against proprietary and big tech. And I think more and more people are going to start getting tired of big tech. And this is the reason why I'm making this video, is because I want people to participate in that movement and to feel like they're doing something against big tech and finding alternative platforms. So looking over here at the left hand side, down where the Windows Start menu would be, we have the menu for Linux Mint. And it's really simple. We're not getting bombarded by ads. If you're running Windows 10, you're getting blasted by ads in here. We don't want to see ads on our operating system. Our operating system should do what it is designed to do, operate the system and nothing more, not blast ads at us and stuff like that. But I digress a little bit, but it's so simple. And here you have this is a pretty much default install. I haven't changed anything from when I installed it. And you've got a Firefox icon here on the left. You've got the software manager, which I'll go over in a minute. You have your system settings, you have your terminal or command prompt, and some files, and then you have your lock screen, and this will lock your screen out, so I don't want to do that. And then here you've got your log out. Like if you have multiple users, you can log out or whatever and switch users. And then here you have your power button, which gives you the options to shut down, restart, or cancel. And then open this back up. You've got all your applications, which lists all your applications, all of them, all in one shot, which is pretty cool. And then you have the breakdown, and you have accessories, and you have your apps that are all under your considered accessories. Then you have graphics programs like GNU, which is GIMP, and that's kind of like the alternative to Photoshop. We have internet applications, and you've got Firefox, Thunderbird client, transmission. unGoogled Chrome is something you can download that I personally downloaded and like. Then you have Office, which is like the alternative to Microsoft Office, which I've used before. And there's some caveats you have to be aware of with doing Libre Office. Sound and video is things like they've got LMMS, which is like a music maker type of thing. You got KDENLIVE, which is a video. It's kind of like the alternative to Adobe, Premiere Pro. And then you've got Celluloid. I'm not familiar with that. Audacity is a music thing, and OBS Studio is actually what I'm recording this video with. And then you have your admin type of stuff. And if you're running an NVIDIA graphics card, there's a lot of good NVIDIA support. And I'm running a 1080 Ti on my Linux system, and it's working great. And then you have preferences, and then places, which is kind of like the desktop documents type of thing. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So as I mentioned in this first part of the video, Mint will kind of give you a heads up of like, hey, there's some new software updates that we need to do. But if you want to check it on your own, all you have to do is hit Update Manager. And what's really cool about the typing bar here, the search bar, is it actually works. It doesn't give you this stupid crap like Windows 10 does and gives you all these internet things to sell you things or divert your attention and things like that. This is functional. It actually, does what it's supposed to do. It looks and finds the stuff you need on your computer. It doesn't try to, be a sales funnel like Microsoft 10 or Windows 10. So, I digress, but Update Manager. So you can click here and boom. It'll come here and it'll check the online to see if you need any updates. And I just did an update and a reboot, so we've got one update that can be done. And right now I'm going to go ahead and skip that for now because I don't want to do another update. Now, what's really cool about Mint that I like is they have like an app store type of thing, and it's called the Software Manager. And you can either type it in here, I can't type, do Software Manager, and see, it does a really good job of the finding, the search does a really good job. But again, you can do it this way, or default it has a manager right here. And this is like the app store for like mobile devices, like your smartphones, and sometimes you got to give it a second to load. Here we go. And yeah, so this is the front page, and right here it gives you a whole bunch of cool things you can download, like if Slack, if you need Slack, if you run an FTP client, you have FileZilla, Telegram, Skype, Steam, GIMP. It gives you these resources to download all these really cool applications. And coming down here, you have like top rated, all these different, half of this stuff I don't know what it is. VLC players is a video codec player type of thing. But yeah, but like you can come in here and type in, if you want to download Chrome, might give it a second, and then you can see here you have different, you got Chrome and Chromium. And one of the cool things I'll show you later down here is unGoogled Chromium. And that's something that I use on my computer down here. If you see down here on the left, where I'm hovering over with the pointer, yeah, I use unGoogled Chromium. And like, if you want to see about downloading Steam, go ahead and type it in here. And so you have all these different Steam things. I haven't installed Steam. I don't play games very much on Linux, but if you're into that kind of thing, it's out there. And so one cool thing, let's do a quick thing, is I need to do VS Code. I want to install VS Code, so I'm going to do a quick little demo of doing VS Code. So maybe we need to do visual. There we go. So sometimes you got to be a little bit more, you know, you can type in VS Code on Google, but in this case you need to do it the full name. So as you can see, it popped right up. And then how about, let's just check it. Microsoft Visual. Let's see what kind of stuff pops up for that. Nope, nothing there. So Microsoft, let's see what happens there. Sorry for the distraction, but so you type in Microsoft and you can see a whole bunch of things. So let's go back and type in Visual Studio. Let's see what we get. And let's go ahead and see if this works. Let's do an install. Okay, hit continue. And you're doing this, we're doing this together. You're seeing how it works live. So one of the things you're going to run into headaches with Mint is not everything's going to work sometimes. And you'll have to do some debugging or figuring out things why they work or they don't work, but it's so much improved now that a lot of things you just download the installer or the Flatpak or whatever, and it works. So we're going to give it a try and see if this works right off the bat. All right, well, that's a good sign. Let's go ahead and see if it launches. Hey, look about that. Now we get a Flatpak warning. All right, so it opened. So let's go ahead and come over here and create an index.html. Let's go ahead and open that. And then we're going to go here, File, Open File, Desktop, and index.html. And of course, it's going to be, oh, that's interesting. All right, let's hit Shift Tab. There we go. So right there, you can make a HTML document. You can do a quick little test. I'm not going to do a tutorial or anything, but go ahead and save it. Go ahead and here and hit this, and let's see. There we go. We've got a test Mozilla Firefox with a HTML file that I just made. So yeah, it works. Amazing. Pretty cool. Just download it and start working. So this is pretty cool. I mean, yeah, pretty groovy. So I've been doing a little bit of work with Linux Mint over the past couple months, getting used to it. And so one of the programs I've been using as an alternative to Adobe Premiere is something called KDENLIVE. Let's see if we can find it here on the software manager, and you can find it right here. And I've already downloaded it, and that little green check mark, I believe, indicates that you have it loaded already. So if you've worked with Adobe Premiere, you'll see that it's very, that KDENLIVE is very similar to Adobe Premiere. So you can see here, you've got a timeline and the windows and things like that. Let me go ahead and close this out, and let me go ahead and go to my videos. I'll go to company news, company presentation, and I'll go ahead and open up one of the things I've done on KDENLIVE. And see here, it's loading all the files out. It takes a little bit, but you know, to be honest, it's a really good system, really good program. It takes a little bit of a learning curve, but as you can see here, I'm scrolling through all the assets I have, and you can see that the timeline right here, and you can scrub right here, and you can see here on the right, you've got your video that you're working on. So, you know, I bounce between this and Premiere Pro depending on how fast I want to get things done and things like that. But it's very similar to Premiere Pro, and it has its quirks. But again, this is awesome because this is open source software. I mean, your data is not being tracked or traced and stolen and used for AI, and you're not having to pay a monthly subscription to Adobe. I mean, this is great. You just download it for free, and yeah, you got to pay a little bit in your time and a little bit of a learning curve, but it's worth it because you're supporting open source software, and you don't have to worry about your data and your ideas being taken. So another cool thing that I've been using is this thing called unGoogled Chrome, and this is for people who are paranoid about them not wanting to use big tech and having their stuff, their data and privacy invaded. So I'm using unGoogled Chrome that basically supposedly gets rid of all Google's spying and tracking. So as you can see here, this is a live demonstration of unGoogled Chrome, and you can do images and things like that. Let's look at this cute little cat, and then you can do, you know, I'm just doing news, I'm just doing generic benign searches, and the only bad thing about using unGoogled Chrome is sometimes you're going to get like the Cloudflare crap that makes you verify that you're a human, or you get some sort of pop-up thing that says, you know, we've detected weird traffic or suspicious traffic because you're using unGoogled Chrome. And you can come here to YouTube, and you know, I've got YouTube popped up, and I'll just type in cats, something benign here on. So hopefully I won't get a meow, meow. So yeah, that's pretty cool. unGoogled Chrome. Another cool thing is this thing called YT Downloader. And this is really cool. And basically, if you want to download a YouTube video, so let me go ahead and pull this back up. Let me go back up to YouTube, and we'll type in cute cat. Hopefully I can find a short clip. We'll go with this one here. Just go ahead and just copy that, right? Go ahead and pause that video. We'll copy the URL, right? And then paste it, and it processes. It might take a little bit. And then here you go. 3 little teddy kittens. And then 3 little teddy kittens here. And then it gives you the different sizes here and formats. And we'll just leave it. We'll do 4, and then we'll do 720. You have more options here, and you can time range, but we'll just go ahead and download the file. And it might take a little bit to download, and I don't remember I have it downloading to. Oh, here on the top it says YouTube downloader. I think if you click that, yep, here we go, right here, downloads. Go ahead and click that. Hey, look at that! I got a YouTube video. And I've used this before to download clips off the internet. And again, this software is free, and as far as I know, and from the usage that I've got out of it, you don't have to pay anything, and there's not any limitations. So that's a really cool software that I've used. So one of the another software that I've used is this thing called LMMS. And I think, what's the name of that beatbox thing? I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to do a post edit, but you can come in here and do tracks and stuff. And this is something that I made. This is the song that I made that I gave out for free because I wanted to give something back to the community, and I made this entire song on my own. And Fruity Loops, that's it, Fruity Loops. I'm getting old, but I had to remember because it was Fruity Loops. But yeah, it's... So I'll give enough of that demo, but yeah, it's just basically kind of like a Fruity Loops type of thing, and it has a whole bunch of different... close it too quick, but it's got a whole bunch of like rules and things like that. Let me open up that clip again. I haven't, so it's got all the different tracks you can do, and then over here on the left it's got my projects, and then tons of different plugins and instruments. I mean, it's really powerful. There's all sorts of crazy stuff on here. So yeah, you can have a lot of fun with it. And yeah, it's going to have its headaches. You might have some trouble with it from time to time, but hey, it's free and your data's not being siphoned off and taken. So yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, like making music and things like that, that's something cool to check into. Now, something else that's really cool and powerful is Libre Office. And you have, typing in here in the search bar, you just type in LIBR and it'll pull up the Libre. And you can also come here and hit Office, and you'll have the Libre Office stuff, right? Then it's like the alternative to Microsoft Word. Now, you're going to have some headaches sometimes with file compatibility, and so like I ported over a PowerPoint, and when I ported over my PowerPoint, I had to deal with some a little bit of headaches with fonts and things not being translated correctly, if you want to call it that, or you know, characters and animations. So I had to go there So I had to go in and fix those things. But if you start from scratch, you may not have that problem. But come back here to, once again, to Office. And you know, you can come in here, and here was a something that I wrote out for one of my videos, and I brought that over from my Windows machine. And you know, if you want to, so again, you might have to do some work with the font, because sometimes not the font is always the same with Windows and Mint or Linux, but it's very similar. But they do a pretty good job of making it go back and forth and compatible. But when you go to save it, LibreOffice. But when you go to save it, LibreOffice gives you a lot of options to save it in a different file format, because like down here where my pointer is, you have all these different formats that you can save it in. And so very similar to how Windows gives you, like Windows and Microsoft Word gives you different options. But again, you're dealing with open source software, and you're not giving your data away to big tech. You know, they're not coming in here. Mint and this Linux, Mint and the developers aren't coming in here and stealing your data. And God knows what Microsoft is doing with your Word data. So, yeah. Another thing is a text editor. I like to work with basic text, and that's what you're looking at here on the right hand side with the overview list I have here. And once again, you can come to your menu search and type in text, and you can find the text editor. And this is also kind of like a Notepad. So if you come in here as a Windows user and look for Notepad, you'll get the text editor. Now this is pretty cool. You can do do a notepad thing, and you can make a little sticky yellow note, but I don't really use that. But sorry for the diversion, but coming back in here, here's your text editor, and here's another instance of a basic text editor, right? So if you like doing things simple, you can do it this way. Go ahead and close that. Okay, moving on. GIMP. So GIMP, generally with the Cinnamon install that I have, I hear it's on the graphics, or you can just type in GIMP, and you'll be very surprised at how similar this is to Adobe Photoshop. And once again, this is free. This is open source, and you're not having to pay for a monthly subscription, and you're not paying with your data. Adobe is not coming in here and they're not. Who knows what they're doing with your data? So it's create a new file, right? And again, you're going to have to go in here and do a learning curve, but it has so many similar functions as Photoshop. And this is a great alternative if you want to get away from proprietary technologies that's snooping and stealing your data and invading your privacy. And then it has a default image viewer, which I really like. And I have a folder here with test images, and these are just random images that I have from my projects, and you can see it's really basic. And I'm using the scroll button to make the images larger and smaller, and I'm using the left and right buttons to navigate through the images. And this is one of my favorite quotes by Buckminster Fuller. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And this is what we need to do. And this society that's heading to what I think is going to become a blockchain crypto UBI dystopia, we need to build a better model by making that system obsolete. And we do that through open source and decentralization. But again, and the fidelity is really clean. These are all really nice images. So, and again, you're looking at, this is a logo that I made a few years ago. But yeah, again, this is open source technology, open source software, and your data is not being taken. So yeah, it's really cool that you get to get this for free. And think about it, there are people out there willing to make this great software. For the most part, unpaid. They're doing this as a passion, right? And when you have passion and you're not paid to do this and you want to do your best out of your passion, that's motivation. You want to support those kind of people. All right. So getting to some other things. So looking back at here, the menu, you've got a calculator. Just a basic calculator. 9 times 6 equals 54. Come back here. Accessories. You've got document viewer, which here if you want to do it, I made a test PDF file, and basically the PDF will be opened by the document viewer. And I'll go ahead and show you that again. Go ahead and open that. Go here, File, Open, and then PDF, Open. Boom. You don't need to download some proprietary thing from Foxit or Adobe. It's already included with Mint, and that's awesome. It's so awesome. And then image viewer, notes, onboard. Some of these things I don't know. Screenshot. This is a screenshot tool. I really don't use it very much. Take a screenshot. Boom. And then you can save it to wherever you want. We'll just do a desktop. We'll hit save. And it should populate right here. Desktop. Really simple to use. There's probably a shortcut you can do. Applications, accessories. We got tons of stuff here. I mean, I don't want to go through everything, but just this gives you an idea of what you can go through and what you have. And there's so many cool things that come standard. And then looking here at the NVIDIA settings. So this is Linux, and you can come in here and do your display configurations, and then I can see here I'm running at 1080 Ti, and it gives you kind of real-time settings and enable GPU fan settings, and you can change things here. Power, like I haven't really investigated too deeply on this, but as you can see here, here's my 1080 Ti and all the CUDA cores and things of that nature. So go ahead and close that. Yes, quit. Come back up here. OBS Studio, which is what I'm running here. As you can see that, I've set up my display and my microphone. Sometimes this will give you a hassle. You'll need to like plug in your microphone. If you've used this app before, it's pretty good, pretty simple, but sometimes if you have your microphone plugged in by USB, it won't pick it up, so you need to plug it in while you have your computer running. It's little annoying things like that, but hey, it's free and open source, and they're not stealing your data. Coming down through here, got printers, screenshot, sound, system monitor. You can come in here. And this is like basically the same thing that you have in Windows. And you can sit here and do your CPU, processors, resources. You can, like I've got a pretty beefy old school X99 CPU here. And you can see that I've got a ton of CPU threads with my processor here. And it's pretty cool. I mean, you're looking at real time. Like, let me go ahead and pull up KDENLIVE, and we can watch it as it spools up. You can see it spool up, and the resources. You got the network down here and memory, so it's a really cool visual graph. Yeah, it's so awesome. Workspaces, I'm not sure what that is. Windows, welcome screen, web apps, Visual Studio Code, virtual keyboard. I mean, you've got tons and tons and tons and tons of cool stuff. Thunderbird Mail, I've never really used that. I've used it a few times in the past, but so that lets you, if you're into that kind of thing for application for those, if you're into that kind of thing. Of course, you've got your terminal. This is where you want to do commands if you're familiar with Linux commands. And themes, this will allow you to change your desktop. So you can, I like this mint that came with the original. Oh my God, I can't deal with that. I need to go back to the dark. And so you can do a lot of customization here. All these different colors you can see as I'm changing here. At the bottom of the left-hand screen, you can change the colors of your highlights for your programs. And you can suit it to whatever you want. And high contrast, good Lord, I can't do high contrast. No. So, and it just gives you a great customization. Come to advanced settings, you can change to whatever kind of mouse pointer you want, however you feel is best, and all sorts of different icons and desktop stuff. And let me see here. I changed the color. I don't care. Another thing you can do is you can change your font, and it gives you all these different things. I'm going to leave mine as standard, but you can come in here and change things, and it gives you I think a lot more fidelity than what Windows does. So, this is getting to be a very long video, and yeah, so I want to go ahead and wrap it up. And I'm, like I said before when I got started, I'm a Linux enthusiast, and I'm working my way to becoming a power user, and eventually, a solid expert on this. And I'm doing this because, and eventually I'm going to be running my own servers with Debian. So Linux is going to be part of my life now, and I really do hope that people who are tired of Windows, people who are tired of AI taking their data, people who are tired of not knowing how their data, their privacy is being invaded, what big tech is doing with their data, and they're tired of the proprietary bullshit, and they're tired of being manipulated and the shitification of software. You have options. You have a choice. You have a right to better software, and open source software is the way to go. End users out there, you've got to support us. You've got to support your independent small tech companies. You've got to support your no-name developers out there who are willing to put in the hard work and to fight the good fight and to keep the internet a free and open and private system, and to make good software that isn't controlled by big tech and leading us into a dystopic UBI blockchain surveillance state nightmare. So with that, that's the conclusion of this Linux Mint grand tour, and I hope you make the switch and become part of the movement. This is Shauna Brooks with Disrupt Apps LLC, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.